in which Manuel made an incredibly powerful and passionate and effective speech about the history of Palestine, the rights of the Palestinian people. This was dutifully recorded by the thankfully silent Zionists who were in the audience on that occasion, and then came up and berated him afterwards for what he had said. They clearly have two problems. One is they don't want to study history, and secondly, having lived in this country for a very long time, probably all their lives, they don't understand English irony either.
Jeremy Corbyn may have made a written apology, but sorry still seems to be the hardest word to actually say.
You know what then? I believe Jeremy Corbyn is anti-Semitic and racist. He can sue me. We have libel courts. He can sue me. He can take me for every single penny he wants. He just has to call his libel lawyer.
Look, calling... there are better things to do with Labour Party money.
Oh, but he'd win it, wouldn't he? Because he's not an anti-Semite, you're convinced. He'd win that case. Come on, Jezza. Sue me.
In 1972, there was an attack at the Munich Olympics.
The Arab guerrillas, with their Israeli hostages, are still in the Israeli headquarters.
A Palestinian group called Black September broke into the Olympic Village. They killed an Israeli athlete and coach. Then they took 9 other members of the Israeli team hostage. By the end of the attack, all of them were dead. Some were killed by Black September. In one case at least, their body was mutilated. The others died during a botched rescue. This attack left deep scars on the Israeli psyche. So how is it that this atrocity in Munich has hit the news again because of events in a graveyard in Tunis, 800 miles away, where Jeremy Corbyn was pictured in 2014, 42 years later? Well, Tunis is the final resting place of lots of people associated with the Palestine Liberation Organization. Notably, people killed in an airstrike by Israel on Tunis in 1985. In these photos, Mr. Corbyn is standing by a memorial to the victims of that attack, which has a wreath on it.
The commemoration of those that died when the Israeli jets bombed the Palestine Liberation offices and community in Tunis, a bombardment that was condemned by Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan at the time, as well as the UN Security Council, and a wreath was laid on behalf of those at the conference to all those that had lost their lives, including families and children.
But how to explain these photos? Mr. Corbyn seems to be laying a wreath on graves of men with links to Black September. Some of the dead were also known as senior Palestinian leaders, but take one of them, Mohammed al-Omari, described as the organiser of the Munich operation. Mr. Corbyn insists that this is not the correct interpretation of these photos.
I was there when the wreaths were laid. That's pretty obvious. There were many others there who were witness to that. I witnessed many other people laying many wreaths.
Did you lay the wreath?
I laid one wreath along with many other people in memory, as I've said, of all those who died in the awful attack in 1985, which, as I keep repeating, and you seem not to understand, was condemned by the whole world.
Mr. Corbyn has acknowledged there were wreaths laid by others to commemorate men linked to Black September. He says he played no part in that. People close to the Labour leader have told Newsnight it's plausible that, since he speaks no Arabic, he may have accidentally become embroiled in such a commemoration. Where does this go now? Well, Mr. Corbyn's account drew criticism last night from Benjamin Netanyahu on Twitter. But that intervention moves this into an argument Mr. Corbyn will be more comfortable with. Mr. Corbyn is a long-standing supporter of the Palestinian cause and an opponent of Western intervention. A straight argument about Israel and Palestine is much easier for Mr. Corbyn to deal with.
Anti-Semitism row in the Labour Party. The latest controversy is about a meeting in 2010 chaired by Jeremy Corbyn in the Commons on Holocaust Memorial Day. In an audio recording obtained exclusively by Channel 4 News, Jeremy Corbyn can be heard introducing the meeting.
We're here for human rights, we're here for peace, we're here for justice, we're here to say never again.
It was comments made by one of the speakers, Hayo Meir, a Holocaust survivor, that provoked an angry response.
Shimon Peres, the great criminal and the great hypocrite. Rubbish. You're a joke.
The room quickly descended into shouting.
Racist out! Racist out!
Another speaker, Haida Eid, on a video link from Gaza, can then be heard comparing Israeli policy to the Nazis.
If there is something to learn from Gaza 2009, it is that the world was absolutely wrong to think that Nazism was defeated in 1945. Nazism has won because it has finally managed to divide the consciousness of its own victims.
The meeting is raucous and Mr Corbyn can repeatedly be heard calling for calm.
Carry on, please.
Mr Corbyn, very clearly, what is your position on the right of Jews around the world to have a homeland? The right of Jews around the world to national self-determination in the form of the State of Israel, founded by the UN and recognized by the UN in 1948. What is your position on the legitimacy and the fundamental purpose of the State of Israel and its right to exist? Because that's the crux of the matter here. British Jews are rightly saying that if activists within Momentum, if the only country that they delegitimize out of all the countries in the world, consider North Korea, consider Iran, consider Saudi Arabia, if the only country whose right to exist is called into question happens to be the world's only Jewish country, then one wonders why any alleged crimes against the State of Israel become more of a priority to focus on than the alleged organ harvesting coming from North Korea.